In the previous video, we saw that the idea behind Bitcoin was to replicate the properties of physical money, of cash, in the digital environment, to create a digital money. But Bitcoin is much more than just money or a digital currency, because it is also a global payment system, borderless, operating on a fully decentralized network that does not depend on any government, any central bank, or any bank at all. This has truly never happened before in the history of humanity. It is unprecedented, revolutionary, and has some characteristics that make it truly fascinating, a technology capable of actually impacting and transforming the world as we know it. First, transacting with Bitcoin is extremely fast. It is as easy as sending an email, as simple as that. With just a mobile phone, a smartphone, you can transact with anyone, anywhere in the world, with any amount, and all of this happens in seconds. Transactions are practically instant, just like sending an email. Second, it is also very cheap to transact with Bitcoin. Transaction fees are almost negligible, and it doesn't matter if you're sending the equivalent of $10, $100, thousands, or even millions of dollars. The cost of the transaction is the same. Proportionally, the cost falls as the value of the transaction increases. Another very important characteristic essential to Bitcoin is that it cannot be confiscated. With Bitcoin, this is impossible. It is not possible to confiscate anyone's account. No entity, no bank, no authority can block someone from using Bitcoin or seize someone's balance. This is impossible, so Bitcoin cannot be confiscated. It is also a system that provides a lot of privacy. Since transactions happen directly between two parties without any intermediary, there is no need to reveal identities. Transactions provide a high degree of privacy for users in the same way that a cash transaction also guarantees privacy. It does not depend on third parties. There is no need for an intermediary, a clearinghouse, or any institution responsible for carrying out the simple task of transferring Bitcoins. You can also be your own bank. This is another unique characteristic. In today's world, nobody carries more than $100 or maybe a few $1,000s with them, whether in their wallet or at home. For anything above that, we always end up relying on the banking system. But with Bitcoin, you can custody your own funds. A Bitcoin wallet is equivalent to a bank account, but much more than that. It can even be considered equivalent to being your own bank. You can create as many accounts or addresses as you want within a Bitcoin wallet. You can custody them by yourself without depending on any third party, and you can also transfer them by yourself without needing an intermediary to complete the transaction. That's why we say that with Bitcoin, you can be your own bank. Bitcoin is also a potential weapon against poverty, because in remote regions far from the big cities, or in countries like many in Africa, there is often no banking infrastructure, or it is extremely precarious. Sometimes a bank branch is kilometers away from someone's town, so opening a bank account and having access is very difficult. And not only that, being accepted by a financial institution is not always simple. But with Bitcoin, it's different. With Bitcoin, all you need is a mobile phone and internet access. In just seconds, you can download a Bitcoin wallet and instantly be connected to a truly international financial platform where you can transact with anyone, receive funds from anyone, anywhere. This really is a potential weapon against poverty, with the ability to bring financial access to millions of people who currently lack even basic banking services. Another very important characteristic of Bitcoin is that it is not inflationary. The quantity of Bitcoins in circulation cannot be inflated. What was defined from the very beginning by its creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, is that the maximum number of Bitcoins that can ever be created is 21 million units. But that doesn't even matter so much, because each unit is perfectly divisible, up to 8 decimal places, and this can even be increased in the future if necessary. So, these 21 million units cannot be inflated. That is the maximum that can ever exist. When we compare this with our state-issued money with national fiat currencies, the contrast is huge because the paradigm is exactly the opposite. Fiat currencies are inflated year after year, losing purchasing power every month, every year, every decade. This is why non-inflation is also an essential feature of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a weapon, or a potential weapon, against financial oppression because it cannot be confiscated, it cannot be inflated. No government, no central bank can steal purchasing power by inflating the currency, by inflating their citizens' money, nor can they prevent any user, any citizen from sending funds abroad. We see this now in Venezuela, in Argentina, in China, and in many other places in the world where there is heavy capital control, strict currency restrictions. Bitcoin emerges as a potential weapon and as an alternative to this status quo, an alternative to an extremely oppressive financial model imposed on its citizens. Bitcoin is, in this sense, a kind of exit, a pressure valve against financial oppression that still exists in many countries around the globe. And finally, Bitcoin is also a stimulus for financial innovation. At its core, in its very essence, Bitcoin is nothing more than software, and it is open-source software that anyone can use, inspect, audit, and propose improvements to. It is not a closed system. This means that financial innovation itself, can happen much more intensely without asking permission from anyone, without needing prior licenses or authorizations. All it takes is to innovate, to download the system, understand how it works, create solutions, and innovate. That is why Bitcoin is said to be a great driver of financial innovation. Because our current system is exactly the opposite. There is no freedom to compete, no freedom to innovate. Practically everything requires authorization. Without the central bank's approval or the regulator's permission, innovation in the financial system is impossible. For all these reasons, Bitcoin is truly something revolutionary. It does have the potential to transform the world in ways we have never seen before. It was the innovation that was needed, the disruption that was missing in the financial system. What email and the internet did to communication, Bitcoin will do to money. Bitcoin will do to the financial system. That is why Bitcoin is truly something revolutionary.